types of FastTrac programs. There's one that's a one-day seminar called Listening to Your Business that just gets people to sit down for a half a day and think strategically about their businesses. There's one called New Venture, and it's for people who are starting new ventures. And this is everything from childcare businesses to, whatever. They have lots of materials that are outside the tech industry. And they also have one called Growth Venture for people who have businesses that are at a certain level and they're looking to move to the next level. And then recently they started yet another one called FastTrac Tech Venture, and that's for tech businesses. Okay, so I found out all those existed, and I called up Kauffman and I said, who is offering these programs in Arizona? And they said, no one. And I said, well, what do you have to do to offer these programs? Because these programs are in all 50 states. They're offered overseas. They're offered mainly through not-for-profit organizations, small business development centers, community colleges, women's centers, tribal organizations. There are lots of different ways of offering it. We happen to be a private consulting group, and we get our grants to offer it from the cities of Phoenix and Tempe. And by the way, CDBG money funds this. It funds the facilitation for the entrepreneurs. The city of Phoenix and the city of Tempe have carved out a small amount of CDBG funds, and that underwrites the fees for the participants in the FastTrac program, because I tried to do it and charge everybody what you might have to charge at market rate, and no one, of course, could afford to go. So take a look at your CDBG. If you're a government, agency or not-for-profit, take a look at your CDBG, because there are ways of doing that. And I think Dan Henderson is coming up here this afternoon from the city of Tempe, and he's done it for us, so he knows how to do it. Anyway, so I went, they said, nobody's offering it. I said, what do I have to do it? They said, well, you have to come to Kansas City and get trained. Great. It was June. The training was in July. July in Kansas City isn't perfect, but when I got there, it was a revelation, because the Kauffman Foundation has spent millions of dollars in research into what makes businesses successful. And I am such a fan of growing your own local businesses rather than trying to get in the horse race. I mean, it's great if you happen to be on the road between California and somewhere else, and you're in northern Arizona and a company wants to locate here because it's a great place to stage trucks. But you can't wait for that to happen. You have to figure out how to make your local businesses do well in the meantime, and your local citizens. And there's an enormous interest in entrepreneurship, especially young people are hugely interested in entrepreneurship because they've seen their parents get laid off. And they're like, whoa, not for me. They also, Generation Y, they also want control over their time and work-life balance. And they'd like to figure out how to do it so that they're not working for the man. So there's a lot of interest in entrepreneurship among young people. There is also a lot of interest in entrepreneurship among people who have finished the first career and are ready to, they're ready to move on. And they're not real sure what they want to do, but they're willing to take a FastTrac program and to try and figure it out. So this is a program where you go take 3 days worth of training in Kansas City, and you become a facilitator and an administrator, and I actually became both. You don't have to become both, but I became the facilitator and the administrator, and then we started offering these programs. It's a 10-week program with the exception of Listening to Your Business, which is the half day, and which is often used as marketing for the 10-week program. You don't get college credit for it. It generally goes on in the evening. We do it from 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening. I just do it around the rush hour. It's like, when can you get here? That's when we'll start it, And we give everybody zone bars in between, or power bars, because they don't get to have dinner, and they come in after a day of work and they are tired. So we try to do that. We get other businesses and service providers in the community to come in and volunteer their time to be resources. And what we do is we get a group of entrepreneurs in a room, and it's not a big group, 8, 6, 8. You can't work with very, very big groups because you have to help them write business plans, and you have to hold hands and mentor and counsel. If you're really going to make them successful, it's a huge, long hand-holding process. But anyway, you get them together in a group, and you hold these 10 sessions with the outside resources, which are also other resources in your community, which you can draw upon the Chamber of Commerce, and the people come in and tell their own stories to these entrepreneurs in training, and the people who come in love it because they get to vent, they get to tell how hard it was, or they get to tell why they were successful or how they failed and what they learned. And also, a lot of them, like law firms and accounting firms, get clients from it. So there are some resources that really like it because they get customers themselves, and others just because they're community-minded, they like to do it. It's a very interesting discussion. Once you get a group of people in the room who are starting 8 different businesses, and you get a guy and that may be completely all different from one another, and then you get a guy in there as a resource who has started and maybe sold or whatever, or maybe is running a 9th business that's completely different from all the other ones. It's a very good roundtable, group discussion. And then you help people as part of this, you help them come up with a business plan. And your local banks really want these business plans because they cannot fund people without them. And so if you could probably get a bank to give you some sponsorship, although to be very honest, in Phoenix the banks are so big we've never had much luck getting a bank to sponsor us. But maybe in the rural communities they're a little bit better about that. But they do want our business plans. And at the end of those sessions, we then invite the people to participate in the monthly CEO and Founders Roundtables. And that way we build an ecosystem. We build connections. We connect people to each other. You'd be surprised who doesn't know about who else is out there in the community and what else is available. And we've just started doing a session on city and state resources, because there are a ton of resources, and the cities are out there with the programs saying, here's my workforce development job training program, and the businesses are out there with the people that they need to train, and somehow it goes like this. Unless you develop something that becomes sort of a center point for all of that. And the FastTrac program in Maricopa County has become that. It's like I keep on going out and glomming onto more and more information, and trying to bring it back. And I feel like I'm a dog bringing, the newspaper back all the time to my entrepreneurs. The other thing we have is we have a website that's just for the people in the program. FastTrac has a national website, and it's very cool because